So in episode 1, we of course made this starter house. I was quite happy with how that turned out, and to me, the next logical stage is to start worrying about getting our early game resources built up. Now, we made a bit of a start of that with this little farm right here, but now we want to move on to some other things. And what I like to do is rush enchanting, because as soon as you can get enchanted gear, that makes a huge difference in the game. So to that end, I've started work on a little mine area just down here. So let's hop down here. We've got quite a long drop, obviously, with the new generation in 1.18. It's much further to go down to diamond level. And if I press F3 here, you can see that we are at negative 58, which I think is about spot on for the best level to be at for diamonds. But I'm still new to this 1.18, so it could change. And if it does, then perhaps this will change. But this is just like an early stage mining area. This isn't something that'll be like my late game mine. It's just something to keep us going for now. So I'll just talk you through a few things that I've got down here. Obviously, a bit of a central area here where we can make these main tunnels going off in 3 directions, and then we'll branch off from them. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my mining method in just a second. But for now, let's just stay in this room and having a look here. You can see some other things we've got. I got some signs here. I find this can be useful because you can put signs around the doors. So for example, if I go down this one and I find a dungeon, I can make like a little note here, maybe with the coordinates of the dungeon or something like that. Or if I find diamonds, but I'm waiting until I've got fortune, I can make a note of where the diamonds are and then go back and fortune them later on. The reason I have these doors, and if I open this one up, you'll see the pressure plate is just on this side, is that makes sure these doors are always shut. So when I go through here, this will shut behind me. When I'm coming this way, I have to like shut the door as I run over it. And that just means if there are any mobs around here, if we haven't lit it up properly or one's chasing us back, they're not going to get into this main area where we've got storage and other stuff that obviously we don't want. Now at the moment, I've got just a ladder here and a water drop. Eventually, I could change this and have these sort of water tunnels when we have like a water elevator and a water drop. But at the moment, we're not at that stage of the game, so this will do for now. And probably this will do for like this entire mine. And then when we get to the stage of actually being able to make that other stuff, the water elevators and such, I'll be making a new mine and a much better one. But yeah, we've got a little bit of storage down here. We've also got an infinite water source. I like to always have a water bucket on me when I'm mining. And sometimes I find they can glitch out and you place a water bucket down. The water doesn't place, but your bucket empties. Does this happen to anybody else? Is it just me? But then I've always got this as a backup, or if I forget to fill my bucket before I come down, then I've got this. Because as I said, it is quite a long way to go back up now. Instead of Y11 like it used to be, I'm now at negative 58, so that is quite a difference. And then I've just lit this all up with just this one lantern here, which nicely lights up this entire area. So I'm actually going to do some mining right now. I've got a few basic resources on me to do a bit of mining. Let's see what we get, and I'll also talk to you about my method for finding diamonds, which I've used for the last couple of years. I actually find it's really, really helpful. Like, I get way more diamonds mining in the way I'm about to show you than what I normally would get. So let's talk about that in just a second. So the first thing to do is really easy. We're just going to mine off in a strip mine like this in one direction. And I'm actually going to do this in a straight line until I find diamonds. And that is when we start to actually get into the interesting dynamics of how I find you can actually use the diamond location to find more of them. Now, I do want to say this isn't like some sort of super cheaty X-ray sort of method or whatever. This is all done just in vanilla, and that means that it doesn't work like 100% of the time, but for me, I have found it to be very useful. Anyone who's watched some of my old streams where I used to do a lot of mining on the streams, we used to have a joke about this because I used to do this a lot on my server, and the joke was always that I was using some sort of X-ray because it worked that well. So I feel pretty confident that this is a good method that I'm showing you guys today. Let's talk about it in just a second once I find those first diamonds. So I actually found diamonds really quickly, guys. Got very lucky here. You can turn around here, I can see that the door is just back there. So the way that my diamond mining method works is once you find a diamond ore like this, you go back on yourself and you mine to the left and to the right in order to find more veins of diamonds. Now, I'm going to go through this full method and explain it to you properly, but just to say, if you are strip mining like this and you find diamonds, as I have quite quickly in the into your mining process, you may want to continue the straight line onwards until you find the next ore vein. The reason for that is because we are going to be going back on ourselves in order for this method to work. The more we go in this direction, the more we're going to have to keep using this method over and over again. So because of that, I'm actually going to continue onwards. Obviously, you guys can make your own judgments depending on how quickly you find them into the process, and obviously depending on what your needs are and what your game plan is. So we're going to continue going this way for now. Just to say as well, I'm not going to mine these diamonds for a second. I'm just going to leave them there, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to wait until I've got fortune before I do it. Now, One thing I may do is just put down like a few torches around here, so that if I'm sprinting through this to find these diamonds later on, I know that as soon as I get to the big group of torches, that's where they are, and I definitely won't miss them. So mining down this way for quite a while, I found that I kept running into these huge pockets of lava. Now, I don't know if I'm just getting unlucky, or if this is maybe just not the best place to be mining for, in terms of the Y level. So what I'm going to do is actually move my mine. So right now, I'm going to get this one right here, and this is officially my first ever mined diamond in the game. So we're going to go and keep that one and put it somewhere separate. Then I'm going to come back, mine the rest of these diamonds, and those will actually be used for tools and weapons and stuff like that. But first diamond, guys, you've got to keep it, frame it, right? It's an important part of the world. So we're going to keep that one safe. And then I'm going to abandon this tunnel, and I'm going to try out these two. And what I will do is I'll start with, say, this one, and we'll go up by about 5 blocks. And we'll see how the diamond levels compare, how the lava compares, and that sort of stuff. If that still doesn't work, I'll then try this one out, and we'll go 10 blocks up. So we're doing a little bit of testing here, figuring some stuff out specifically for diamonds. And at least we're getting some resources as we go, obviously. But yeah, there was just so much in terms of the lava there. It was becoming really, really difficult to mine in that direction. So here we go, a couple of diamonds here in this tunnel. This is the one that was 5 blocks higher. So if I press F3 right now, you see we're at negative 53 instead of 58. This has been quite a long tunnel, and I have to say I haven't had any issues with running into lava. I've been going over the top of lava, which has been really nice, and it has allowed me to get a lot more mining done. Now, in order to do my method, what I want to do is talk a little bit about where this method came from. So I've run a number of servers over the years. I've got one running right now if you guys are interested, link in description. But basically, we've caught a lot of X-rayers, and I always noticed the way that the X-ray tunnels go, which got me thinking a little bit about how diamonds generate within the world. So essentially, we found these diamonds here. Now, if we keep mining in this direction, we're not going to find them again for a long time. If you've ever seen someone's X-ray tunnels, they'll mine like here, then they'll come like back a bit, and they'll go this way, and then they'll get some diamonds over there, then they'll come this way, and then they'll mine over here and get some diamonds over there. And that's just kind of how it goes. It almost looks like a little bit of a spider's web, almost just like going off these random directions. So we're going to use that. Now, I'm not actually going to mine these diamonds. I'm going to wait until I have fortune, but we're going to mark their location. And what I'm going to do is just go back to my first torch, because this is kind of arbitrary where we go back to, okay? It doesn't really matter too much, but we don't want to go too far because we want to save as much space that way as we can for later on. So from this torch, I'm just going to go to the left. I always go to the left just because that's like my habit. It really doesn't matter if you go left or right here. Incidentally, I always do this because then when I come out of this right here, I always know this is the way to go to get home. Now, right now it's obvious because I can see the end of the tunnel, but it's just like a habit I have. When you're halfway down, you look down that way and you can't see anything, and you look this way and it looks exactly the same. It could be hard to know. It's a little trick there for like knowing your way home. So what we do now is we just mine in this direction, and we're going to see how long it takes us to find diamonds. And once I find them, I will then talk to you about the next stage of this process. And we're starting to build up the picture here of how I like to mine for diamonds and how I find it quite useful, and actually does get me a ton of diamonds doing it this way. This is the tunnel that I was digging down in search of diamonds, and I had to dig down a really, really long way, but we then got rewarded from this by finding this absolutely huge cave area. And as you can see, we have some diamonds up here, and there's about 3 other locations in here so far that I found diamonds, and I've also found myself a zombie dungeon just over in the back right corner. So this is going to be a great place to come caving later on and to get ourselves a ton of diamonds. At the moment, I've just been building up my XP, see I'm at level 32, and scouting for diamond locations, but I am of course waiting until I get fortune 3. So what I'm going to do now is just run back down here and then show you how to continue these sort of mining method that I'm showing in today's video in order to do what I do in search of diamonds. So now we're back to the tunnel that we originally started. There's our diamonds that we found. This is the tunnel we went down where that massive cave area is. Now, as I say, I had to go down there a really, really long way. So you have a couple of options. You can treat this tunnel like a new one of these tunnels if you like. Now, what I mean by that is originally we, of course, mined ages in this direction to find diamonds, and then we're going to start mining to the left and to the right, as I did here. But once you go so far as I went here, you could then use this to do the exact same thing and start mining to each side of this tunnel if you want. Now, I might do that later on. However, for now, what I'm going to do is talk about my method. So basically, the further we have to go down this tunnel to find diamonds, the less we go in this direction before we start mining off to the right. So again, make a little dent here like this so I know which way I'm heading, and we're going to mine off this way. Now, the reason for that is diamonds will not spawn within a certain distance of each other very often. It's very, very infrequent. Again, this just comes from my knowledge of looking at different X-ray tunnels and stuff over the years. So if there's diamonds really far down that way, to have enough distance between them for the next ones to potentially be able to spawn, we don't have to go very far this way before they could potentially be here. Now, if we don't mine too far this way and then we find diamonds, we go longer down this direction here, back down the tunnel, before we go off to the left, because we need to have that extra space between them. Now, this is something that you just get a bit of a knack for over time, but roughly speaking, if you find within the first 30 blocks of going this way, I consider that to be short. If it takes about 30 to 100 blocks of mining this direction, I consider that to be in the middle, and if it's 100 or more, I consider that to be long. Again, that is just rough. You will, guys, as you like keep doing this method, you'll start to get a bit of a feel for it, and I don't actually count, I just do it on feeling alone, but those numbers would be roughly accurate. So in terms of what that means, short, medium, and long, obviously, as I say, if it's a long time down there, you only go a short way down here, and as you can see on this one, I went just literally a few blocks down. If it's medium, I would go maybe to like here-ish, so maybe to the next torch, like here. And if it's very short before you find it, then we'll go down maybe one extra. Again, this is all stuff that you guys will get used to as you start to put this method into practice. So I'll be honest, guys, when I decided to do this as a video, it was a little bit of a gamble because this method has always worked for me, but 1.18 is very different. But guys, look what we did. We have diamonds right here. So this method, I still stand by it, and I'm going to continue on for this video, and I'm going to talk to you about the next stage now and all the rest of it. But there was our original tunnel, right? So I found diamonds there. I went down here, I had to go a really long way, so I didn't go too far this way. I've gone in, and there are diamonds. Now, this method, obviously, it's not like 100%. This is not X-ray, right? That's not the point, because it's obviously we're doing this in vanilla. We're not using any cheat mechanics. But it just seems to work really, really well for me. And people have always joked about it in my live streams, as I said, when I'm mining, that this is like a crazy good method. And I have to agree, it just always works. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go down this way like this. And let's go to about, just before this torch, about here. That's where we're going to go, because we are able to go a little bit longer down this way because we didn't go too far in order to find them, so we're going to go longer distance down this way. And now we're going to head off this way again, and we've made our little mark there. Let's go off again and see how long it takes us to find diamonds this time. So I was mining this little tunnel off the next one that we were doing, and I've come to a little bit of a cave area, and you guessed it, guys, I found diamonds. Now, I absolutely promise you that this was in no way like me cheating for this video at all, right? And this is honestly how good this method is. So just up here, I found this cave. I haven't even explored all this cave yet. There could be another vein, but I found this first one, and I was like, there we go. Like, this just happens all the time. There we go. There they are. So we've got 2 diamonds right there. As I say, I haven't even explored all of this yet, but it just does seem to work. Now, I'm just interested. Has anyone in the comments let me know if you've ever tried a method like this? Do you have your own little tips, or what you think, you know, is maybe the best way of getting diamonds? But this, to me, has got to be up there as one of the best methods I've ever come across. And there we go, guys. There's actually another vein. I cannot believe this. There are 2 veins just in this little cave, and there's still a bit more to explore around that corner. But yeah, so I'm going to put a load of torches here because that's what I do to spam them. So when I'm coming back through later on to find them and use fortune on them, I'm going to do it. So that's 2 veins we found in here. As I say, so far, I don't know what's going on up over this place. Let's keep looking around here. Okay, looks like just the 2 veins in here. Oh, I say just, I mean, that's obviously pretty good. 2 veins in this one. Let's actually just cheat across here. Well, not cheat, just build across rather than going around. And we're going back down our tunnel. So now, once again, I'm going to sort of, in fact, if I just run down here, you see how far I came. So this is like starting to get towards a medium-sized tunnel, right? So now I'd go down probably to about this torch here. I usually sort of do it near a torch because I can sort. Okay, for some reason I thought I heard a creeper there. I think it was just running water. So now I'm going to go off down this way and see what happens. So you're getting the point, right? We just repeat this process, and it honestly just seems to work so well for me. So I'll probably make this the last tunnel that I do, and we'll see how well this goes, how long it takes us to find diamonds. And the last one I do, I say, for this episode, but I will continue using this method because to me, this seems to work amazingly. So just down the end of the tunnel there, you can see where we came in. Guys, if you are not convinced, you should be by now. I found diamonds here. Now, as I say, this to me isn't actually all that surprising. I wasn't sure because it's 1.18, you know, whether this is going to have changed, but this has been how I've been getting tons of diamonds as I've been playing through my Minecraft game. It's pretty much like a vanilla X-ray, like the closest thing you'll get without actually cheating. So I know I'm banging on about this method a bit, but honestly, I really stand by it, and I want to try and show you guys today like how good it is and how useful it can be, so that when you're using this in your worlds, hopefully you can get a lot of diamonds a lot quicker. But if you do give this a go, let me know how it goes. I really really hope it works well for you, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this method. Continuing on with the theme of resources, as I said, we have got our wheat farm, of course, but the next two farms I want to make in today's episode are a nice cow farm, get that started off. I mean, that was basically what the wheat farm is for anyway, is so we can breed cows, so we can get the steak for a good food source. So the steak is, a pretty good food source, and also I want the leather so that I can make up a lot of bookshelves to get into enchanting, which was kind of like the purpose of today's episode all up. The other thing we're going to do as well is get into a sugarcane farm and get some of that place down so we can get all the paper, again, leading towards that enchanting. So let's go and get a nice area made up and get some cows and sugarcane growing. So here we go, guys. Went ahead and made a little cow pen here, and pretty simple design, to be honest, but wasn't looking to do anything too special. I did give them a tree, though, because it can get hot here in this little plains. I know there's snow up there. It's this evening, guys. The sun, it gets hot. They need a little bit of shade, so they have that option right now. And then, of course, went ahead and made up the little sugarcane farm here and just put something around our mine shaft, because I'm trying to get this to develop a little bit as we go through. Eventually, what I think I'll probably do is when I move bases, I'll build a little wall around this and have this as like a little village. Might even put some villages in here that I can revisit whenever I want. But just to say, this whole sort of series that I'm doing, this Let's Play series, the inspiration behind it was basically because I love Minecraft and it's fun to play it sometimes and make videos on it. It's going to be pretty like chilled, casual kind of series though, and hopefully just something that you guys can sit down and watch and enjoy every now and again. I don't predict we're going to get like tons of views compared to some of my other videos, or that it's going to do anything amazing for my channel, but it's just going to be a bit of fun, and also a bit of fun to interact with you guys as well as making these videos. So do get involved in the comments, feel free to suggest ideas and things like that, and I'll probably stream this from time to time as well, so it'd be good to see some of you on streams when I do that. But that's the whole sort of thing behind this series. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it, and for now I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.